In May 2026, news broke regarding the man pictured here, legendary creator Katsuhiro Otomo. At 70 years old, he announced the launch of Oval Gear, a brand new animation studio. The internet immediately went into a frenzy. Fans started connecting the dots, predicting the revival of his long-delayed sci-fi film Orbital Era, and speculating about a rumored remake of Akira that would finally adapt the full manga. To understand why this studio announcement holds such weight, we must look back to 1988, when Otomo dropped a cinematic bomb on the industry. Otomo is the architect of modern science fiction, and his return marks a homecoming to the very impact crater he created. Back in the 1980s, the Western world had a rigid view of animation. Cartoons were strictly Saturday morning entertainment for children, seen as incapable of carrying dark, mature themes. This prejudice was so deeply entrenched that when presented with the chance to bring Otomo's work to the United States, industry titans like Steven Spielberg, pictured here, rejected it, claiming the material simply wouldn't suit Western audiences. But Otomo's source material defied that exact stereotype. He was adapting his own dense, 2,000-page manga, wrestling with post-war nuclear trauma, intense youth alienation, and total societal collapse. Bringing that vision to the screen required a massive financial risk. Otomo demanded total creative control and a staggering budget of up to $9 million. The cost was so high that a single studio couldn't afford it, forcing multiple companies to pool their resources into a joint partnership known as the Akira Committee. This was a massive, unprecedented gamble that bet the most expensive animation budget in history on a story of total societal collapse. Because the manga was still unfinished at the time, Otomo took a unique structural approach to the adaptation. He wrote the film's ending first, and then reverse-engineered the plot to condense his massive story into a 2-hour runtime. The raw labor required to execute this vision was staggering. The production team generated over 160,000 individual hand-drawn cells, more than double the frame count of a standard animated feature. They also pioneered the use of early computer-generated imagery. CGI was deployed to calculate complex parallax effects and to ensure that falling debris and crumbling buildings strictly obeyed the laws of physics. Then they inverted the traditional production workflow. Instead of animating first, the actors recorded their dialogue beforehand, allowing the artist to draw hyper-realistic lip-syncing that matched every syllable. This extreme technical rigor was a necessity, required to visually render a world buckling under the weight of uncontrollable physical forces. The audio landscape required the exact same level of invention. Otomo handed a blank check and a 6-month deadline to composer Shoji Yamashiro and the Geino Yamashiro Gumi Choir, asking for a score that rejected all standard cinematic tropes. The foundation of that sound can be seen in this image of traditional Indonesian gamelan instruments. Yamashiro utilized these specific percussive tools, combined with digital microtuning, to mimic the technological pulse of Neo-Tokyo. He then contrasted that mechanical rhythm with vocalists like the woman pictured here, singing mournful Bulgarian Orthodox chants. This clash of sounds was chosen specifically to symbolize a primal, deeply human evolution, struggling against a cold industrial machine. This sonic clash maps directly onto the core story of Tetsuo, a beaten-down, disenfranchised youth who is suddenly granted godlike atomic power that his mind simply cannot comprehend. Both the plot and the score operate as a terrifying reflection of humanity. Much like the atomic bomb, we possess an evolutionary power we are entirely unequipped to control. When Akira finally hit Western art house theaters in 1989 and 1990, its extreme violence and moral complexity shocked audiences who didn't know how to categorize it. The film's success destroyed the Western stereotype that cartoons were only for kids. It proved definitively that animation could function as a fine cinematic medium for adults. Notice this map showing global distribution networks. Akira functioned as a battering ram, forcing open a pipeline across North America and Europe. That permanent infrastructure paved the way for future Japanese properties, from Studio Ghibli to Pokémon, to enter the global market. Akira violently terraformed the global entertainment landscape, clearing the ground for an entirely new genre of cinematic storytelling. Over the next 3 decades, the film's DNA bled directly into modern Western sci-fi. You can trace its heavy thematic and visual influence straight into blockbusters like Inception, time travel films like Looper, found footage movies like Chronicle, and shows like Stranger Things. Its cyberpunk aesthetic even infected mainstream music. We can see that influence peak with artists like Kanye West, seen performing here, who replicated sequences from Akira shot for shot in his music video for Stronger. This 2026 studio launch signals Otomo's return to an industry he first upended in the 80s. According to the press releases, the stated mission of Oval Gear is to pass Otomo's unique visual expression and artistic style down to a new generation of creators. Akira was a massive cultural blast that forced the landscape of global media into a completely new and unexpected shape. And with Oval Gear, Otomo is proving that true artistic energy never dies. It just